Well, thank you for joining us today. What we're going to talk about today is how to unleash um, AI to revolutionize your service operations using Einstein GPT, and generative AI more broadly. My name is Patrick Beyries. I'm head of product and innovation here at Neuroflash, a leading Salesforce partner, and I'm joined by Jhad Katerji, who leads a significant portion of our solutions engineering team, and will be also joining me in the conversation today. So Neuroflash is a leading Salesforce partner in specifically in the service and digital space. Our roots really go back to AI and natural language processing. We have extensive practices around Service Cloud, around Amazon Connect, around AI and Einstein and bots, as well as field service, sales, and Revenue Cloud. We're known for driving customer success, and our CSAT that we're very proud of kind of points to that, as well as really helping customers understand what the future looks like and how to get there, driving business results as the focal point of how we engage with our customers. We have been a leading partner in the space for many years, and continue to grow and expand our practice and really, kind of focus on those business results that we can drive for our customers together. So when we talk about leveraging generative AI, one of the things that I think we often talk about customers with is, what is it that you're trying to achieve? Now, many of us obviously have, direction or mandates to use generative AI in general, but we always want to center those conversations around, what is it that you're trying to achieve in your business? What are your priorities? What is your focus? What are your challenges? Where are you trying to take your business? And what we see in this survey from IDC and Google from just a couple years ago is that the main reasons for using AI in the contact center for those customer benefits or the business drivers is specifically around customer experience, number first, and then things like average handle time, deflection, agent efficiency, which I would argue many of those other points also directly impact customer experience, because what customers are looking for out of service is, number one, the right answer in resolving their problem, and number two, doing that as quickly and efficiently as possible. But starting with that end in mind, right? Not just starting with sort of, turning on a technology, but rather starting with the idea of, what is it that we're trying to achieve together? And then mapping that to the right technologies or the right process changes, or how your people interact with the tools, which I think is a really big part of the solution as well. And so we'll talk a little bit about, how do you get the most out of the technology, and how do you bring that together with what you already have in your organization, including your people and your processes. And in particular, the idea of a technology by itself solving a problem, I think, is overstated and maybe too simple of a framing. I think the idea of, how do I take this technology and use it to elevate my people, and how do I let my people help elevate and improve the technology itself? After all, the idea is to get better than what you are today, is to achieve those business results. And in order to do that, we need to really leverage the best of what our people bring to the equation and the best of what technology can bring to the equation. And so, people are good at complex problems, at ambiguity, at problem solving, at making decisions on the fly. Whereas technology is good at structured problems, finding information, the needle in the haystack, solving problems that are sort of well-defined or have a specific shape or boundary to them. And if you think about, leveraging the best of those two pieces, and then in particular, bringing them together in a way which is collaborative, which is synergistic between the two. How do we use our people to make the technology better, and use our technology to make the people better? I think that's, a really important thing that gets missed a little bit these days, with everybody focusing on the technology part. Yes, There are some things that technology will do sort of quote on its own, but translating those into those business impacts and in fact into actionability that allows you to change your business or change how you do service is really a key component that we should not miss out on. And so that idea of driving to those business results requires us to then try to use the different components that we have to their full extent. And I think the idea of leveraging the two together in a way that actually drives toward those results is something that's really important and something that we're really firmly behind at NeuroFlash. And in particular, in service, the human touch or the empathy is a huge component to driving the kind of service we want and to eventually getting those business results we want. Remember, customer experience was the #1 thing that people were looking for out of their contact center in terms of using AI. Well, the customer experience in most cases is going through that agent. And obviously there are bots and IVRs, et cetera, that may be doing that without an agent. But in the vast majority of cases, what that customer experience looks like is what they're getting from that agent. So how do we use technology to empower that conversation? How do we use it to elevate that conversation? In general, for example, the technology, it can be really good, whether it's generative AI or whether it's sort of legacy AI or even automation, can be really good at doing processes, repeating steps, or finding information, even finding information in real time, just at that moment of need, surfacing that to an agent. And while that's happening, the agent can actually be more focused on your customer, can be more focused on the business outcomes that you're trying to drive, because they're not doing all that heavy lifting of searching through many, many places to try to find that information. Some of that work, at least, is being done by the technology. Similarly with Gen AI, who can now create content, right? Create an email draft or suggest a reply to this customer. The technology is sort of doing what it's good at, but that's augmented by or supercharging your agents, who are the ones who then deliver that to the customer and kind of help to drive those business results, which is what we're super, super focused on. And we know this intuitively, right? If we know that the customer coming in with a conversation, it's a sensitive one, maybe it's about a life event in the insurance industry, they got married, or their relatives passed away, or maybe it's in the car insurance that there was an accident, or maybe it has to do with them wanting to cancel their service on, in the communication space. We know that we want humans to have those conversations and to be empathetic and to be a major part of that conversation. And so how do we use technology to help make that happen? And how do we use the strength of our people to continue to iterate and make technology better? And to bring that to life, we're going to take a look at a demo, and Jhad's going to walk us through how technology and people can be used together to drive those kind of business results.
Awesome. Thanks, Patrick. So Patrick has just talked through how humans have an unmatched advantage when it comes to connecting with others in context, while machines and AI are incredible at taking that context and doing the repetitive tasks that humans don't need to and shouldn't have to do. So how do we take this concept and how do we bring it together in a sales or service context? Well, NeuroFlash is actually built on top of Einstein GPT to curate experiences for both customers and agents, where we can take these general concepts that Patrick has just went through and apply them directly to our everyday workflow. So rather than telling you, I'm going to go ahead and show you. So what you're looking at here is a conversation that has just ended between Jhad, a lead, and Patrick, a sales rep. The technology powering this conversation was Service Cloud Voice, meaning that this entire conversation was transcribed in real time. So Salesforce has access to this interaction as if it was a digital channel. So what do most reps, either sales or service, have to do when a conversation is over? Usually they're asked to summarize the conversation and store it on a record for both tracking and contextual purposes. Well, with generative AI, this is one of those repetitive tasks that can be completed in the back end with no human intervention. I can simply click this Get Call Summary button and my entire conversation can be summarized in a few bullets without having to spend any time on summarizing or taking notes. But you're going to notice a lot more going on here. Generative AI in this scenario wasn't just doing what it was told to do, but also working on other recommendations in the background. Notice how it was able to pull out key products of interest based on the conversation and actually provide me with a confidence threshold on these items. I'm also being provided with recommended next steps and generating a follow-up email and drafting a knowledge article based on the conversation, which I'll get to in a second. But One of the most important aspects to this is the human to AI feedback loop, which you'll see the first example of here. The model is actually asking me how helpful these suggestions were, right? We have a human working on this interaction that fully understands the context of what's going on. So using their brain to make the AI smarter and work harder for us in the future is critical. This feedback goes right back to the model and affects the future suggestions in similar situations. In this scenario, it was very helpful, so I want to go ahead and let the model know that. So let's go ahead and move to the recommended next steps. I have the option to generate a follow-up email. But rather than clicking a button and just generating an email, we're actually going to request more context from the user. You'll see it's asking me what products Jhad may be interested in based off the conversation, with recommendations around GPT and field service, while allowing me to make modifications and select other checkboxes. It's also asking me to establish a writing style, right? I can go ahead and select which role may best suit Jhad. Again, if this information is already on the lead, we can automatically select that. If not, we can use our best judgment. And I also have this slider down here to determine how technical I want this email to be, providing all the context that I have to give me the best result. I'm going to go ahead and hit that generate email button. And as soon as I do, this email is going to be generated for me. The tedious task of writing the email has been completed while still leveraging the context that I had on the interaction and on that lead. You'll see it's detailed the products of interest along with the writing style. It's allowing me to select from a recipient email. We can go ahead and automatically select the one that is standard on that lead or on that object. It's also giving me a subject line, which in this scenario, I don't love. So I'm going to go ahead and make a modification here. From there, I can see the actual body of the email. Once I feel good about it, I can go ahead and click send. And just like that, generative AI has helped me with that task. But if you remember, I didn't necessarily love the subject line. So I'm going to go ahead and provide that feedback to the model. I can go ahead and say it wasn't necessarily super helpful, and in natural language, give the feedback that I'd like a more specific subject, making the model smarter for next time. From here, we can go on to the next recommended step. You'll see I have the option to actually draft a knowledge article. And very similarly, I'm going to be able to provide context from a human standpoint. Go ahead and select how technical I want this knowledge article to be written with another slider. I'm going to go ahead and slide that halfway here. We can select the knowledge article audience. Do we want it internal or external, right? For agents or for customers? I can review the suggested title, make modifications if needed, and even the suggested data category. And again, it's going to ask for my feedback around how helpful this was. In this case, it was very helpful, so I'm going to go ahead and select that. And what you're seeing here and what you've just seen is a small example, a snippet of what we can do and how generative AI can power our agents and how our agents can make our entire business better. AI is incredibly powerful. Humans are incredibly powerful. When both are working in synergy to provide value for your business, the entire space can be revolutionized. To talk about this a little bit more, I'm going to hand it back to Patrick.
Thanks so much, Jhad. I really think that brings home the topics of people, process, technology working together to drive those business results. And of course, the business results that a lot of people are looking for is specifically around customer experience as well as efficiency. Another example, Neuroflash is working with one of the leading roadside assistance companies in the United States, and we're redesigning what their process looks like, starting from the IVR and the initial call all the way through delivering service. And I think it's another, kind of pathway that shows how technology can be used with people and process to really drive outstanding results. So let me walk you through what that vision might look like. So if a customer perhaps is broken down on the side of the road and maybe texts in or uses the mobile app in order to contact the roadside assistance company, the text may be initially read by a bot and triaged and collecting specific information about this user or about their location. And then once the bot maybe realizes the situation and has the right information, escalates this and bypasses the queue to go directly to an agent, because this is someone who's stranded on the side of the road and really in that moment of need when human touch and speed is of critical importance. And so the agent maybe gets forwarded that case with priority and the customer information that the bot was able to get from the CRM or from other data sources, and also what the customers said to the bot when they first engaged. The agent can then be guided through a workflow that may have branches and choices in it that specifically is focused on achieving the results, but also centered around safety. and certainly offering that empathy and service that end customer is looking for. The conversational intelligence can be following that conversation and dynamically pushing information to the agent, things like weather conditions, traffic conditions, where are there nearby trucks, and what are the estimated time of arrival for those trucks in that location that have the appropriate equipment for this specific situation. The agent may send the information to the end customer about what is that ETA and who's coming to help me, and what is that process going to look like, and stay on the line perhaps with the customer while that happens, but all being provided this information sort of in real time by the technology that allows them to be focused on the customer, allows them to be focused on this person who's stranded on the side of the road and needs help now, and who is perhaps in a somewhat dangerous situation, or certainly is anxious about what's happening and how the problem is going to get resolved. And so the technology is able to kind of feed the right information at the right time and sort of give them an overall experience, which is better than what could be provided by an agent alone, but also certainly higher touch and a better feeling experience than what could be experienced with just the technology alone. And as that customer gets picked up, or their problem gets resolved out on the road, the agent is then also able to sort of grade the AI and give feedback that allows the AI to continue to get better and better. One of the things about this kind of technology is that you can't go off in a silo and go build the perfect solution, on day one. You can build a good solution on day one and then iterate and get better and better and better over time. And that feedback loop from the people is super, super critical to help iterate. But it's also really important from a change management perspective, because your people now feel like they're part of the new solution. They feel like they are moving the technology forward and not being sort of guided or graded, by technology separately. And so it's really important from both an outcomes perspective and also a change management and adoption perspective to make your agents and your team feel like they are an equal part of the solution and helping make it better. And so this is another example of how those two things can come together to drive those business results that you're looking for, like customer experience, and in this case, helping someone who's in a vulnerable situation with the data as well as the process guided by AI, and all fed through the empathy of your best asset and service, your people. So in summary, to kind of put all of these pieces together, as you look at how are we going to operationalize this kind of technology in our company, in our contact center, start with what you want to achieve. Start with those business results that you were trying to get to. What are the KPIs you're trying to move? How will you know when you get there? What are you going to measure to iterate and get better and better and better at each step? Think about how technology can enable your people, and how your prior interactions from your people can help train the technology. After all, when you train a bot or when you train a agent assistants, the first thing you look at is how have we handled these kind of situations in the past? What are our best outcomes driven by? And how do we map that with technology? And then think about how the technology fits into your processes. The technology by itself does not, often create business results or actions, but rather fitting into the processes that you have, perhaps modifying those processes, modifying your agent experience, and then, kind of using that as a way to bring together both the steps that are human-driven and the steps that are technology-driven, and some which maybe are both. And then lastly, make sure to involve your people in the design of the solution, both initially and on an ongoing basis, where they can give feedback and continue to help you improve the situation. Leads to much better results, both from a change management perspective and also from a human plus machine equals better results perspective. So this is how we kind of work with our clients. This is how we lead these conversations, of which we're having many of them. And hopefully this is helpful for you as you start to frame out, how are we going to actually unleash AI in our contact center for these maximum results? Thank you so much for being with us today, and hopefully, we can work together on achieving those results through AI and technology with you.